Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming to the second keynote presentation of the day. I'm really happy and honored to have the opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker, Dina Carabas. Dina is interested in understanding how we can use technology for a more inclusive society and economy. She works on bringing more open data to the world and on developing tools that helps us make better use of the vast amounts of human knowledge. Dina is the founder and chairperson of the Open Reviews Association, a nonprofit organization dedicated to turning a fundamental form of human collaboration, online reviews, into open data. Shifting this valuable data from proprietary silos into an open data ecosystem will allow everyone to share their insights and experiences freely, and to use this data to improve decision-making and allocation of resources. Before this current role, Dina had diverse experiences in technological development in AI, probabilistic modeling, and Web 3.0. Dina has the background in engineering, and she holds a master's degree in industrial engineering from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany and the MBA from INSEAD. Today, her topic is building an open data ecosystems for reviews. And I believe this is a really exciting topic and highly relevant to the community. Please share your comments or questions in the comments area. I'll pick them up and relate to our speaker. Now I give you Dina Carabas. Sorry, Dina, you are muted.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Please.
So here we go again. Let me go back to the slide. Yeah. So yeah, I was just about to say thank you very much, Phil, and thank you to the whole Enter team for this great conference, and of course for the opportunity to present our project to you. So this presentation is about the Open Reviews Association and its goal of creating an open data ecosystem for reviews of points of interest and more. But before we dive into the content, let me very briefly introduce to you Aura. The mission of Aura is to enable as many people as possible to freely share and make use of open data reviews. Aura is organized as a non-profit association, and it is registered in Switzerland. It supports the adoption, the maintenance, and the growth of open reviews. And most importantly, it maintains the servers and the services to host the open data set. The members of Aura are individuals and organizations that are passionate about the idea of open data reviews. We have members from research institutions, but also technologists, and now a growing number of industry practitioners who are starting to explore what the technology can do for their endeavors. So let's get started. So this is how we know reviews today. We have a small number of platforms that have become the dominant go-to places when people want to read or write reviews. And for consumers, reviews have become really important in their decision-making. So with the help of the internet and the reviews platforms, it became possible to arrive in a completely unknown town, enter something like a local food restaurant near me, and be able to identify a decent place offering food and an ambience that looked pretty much like what we just had in mind. So by collaborating with strangers, we are able to reduce our risk of having experiences that don't fit our expectations. We explore more with less risk because others share their experiences with us. For businesses, the reviews have become key to their online reputation and discoverability. Their ratings directly impact their profitability in positive ways as well as negative ways sometimes. Reviews are also a great source to identify what they should improve on and where to allocate budgets. And finally, reviews also help us to generate new insights and to understand more about people's preferences and behaviors. But the more important reviews become, the more problematic it is that they are still kept within fragmented and proprietary data silos. So local businesses are becoming increasingly dependent on dominant platforms to be discoverable. And it is also becoming quite costly to manage the reputation across all these different platforms. It has also become quite hard to create alternatives to dominant services, such as online travel agents or navigation apps that rely heavily on reviews. And this is because of the network effects that reviews pose. So all other things equal, people will prefer the platform that gives them the larger number of reviews. Another big problem is that this rich data cannot be used fully for open innovation and for new products based on the insights that researchers are able to generate from it. So let me give you a couple of examples for each of these points. So this is the website of the really beautiful region Heideland in eastern Switzerland. You can see that a few local businesses have licenses to review services, but the large majority does not. So while many of these places have reviews on Google or TripAdvisor, neither the DMO nor the places themselves can use the reviews to help the website visitors in their decision-making. And this just makes the websites less useful than they could be, because they don't allow the DMO or the local businesses to directly interact with the tourists. This is an example of a mapping and navigation app that is based on OpenStreetMap data. I'm personally a big fan of OpenStreetMap. In many places, especially in the outdoors, OpenStreetMap-based applications have a higher level of accuracy and detail. But each time I'd like to find a restaurant or another point of interest during my hike, I'm still forced to go back to Google, and this is because of the lack of reviews and of the features that reviews enable. So just to illustrate, without reviews, it's not possible to rank search results in a meaningful way, because there is nothing that could indicate the quality of the places. Also, reviews are really helpful to manage outdated or wrong factual information, because the places that don't exist or that have wrong information automatically move down in the rankings. And here is an example of some really cool research from this year's ENTA conference. These papers that leverage online reviews either propose interesting new methodologies or they surface valuable insights. Both could be turned into new and innovative products that could serve either the consumers in their decision-making process or businesses to better anticipate what their consumers need or what their customers need. But for such products to be developed and marketed, they would need constant and real-time access to reviews data. And ideally, in such a way that the data from different platforms can be easily combined. But both of these things are very hard and costly to achieve today. So it seemed to us that we are all missing out in one way or another on the possibilities that reviews data brings us. So we set out to create open reviews. The functionality that we are proposing is similar to how people know reviews already today. You can browse through reviews, you can filter them by the things that match your preference, you can interact with reviews by liking them or commenting on them. But Instead of building yet another reviews app with the only difference being that the data is open, we wanted to go further and to create a whole new paradigm for reviews. So we designed the infrastructure to facilitate the creation of an ecosystem instead. Parties with different interests should be able to connect and build useful applications and use the data set based on a variety of interfaces that are all equally valid. So to ensure reliable ratings, we believe that open innovation is the right way. If we make the data freely accessible, interested researchers from all over the world can work on and experiment with methodologies to filter out fake reviews and to improve the accuracy of aggregated ratings. And in addition to that, we hope to see more innovation in solutions for verified purchases that can be adopted much wider than is the case today. Finally, the current dominant reviews platforms provide a lot of, while the current dominant reviews platforms provide a lot of use to people, there is also a lot of criticism about the intransparency of how the display of reviews are handled. So so basically the questions of why are certain reviews shown that seem to be fake, or supposedly real reviews are being hidden, and so on. And we believe that websites and end users should have more influence over what filters and algorithms are used to generate and display their ratings. So as open innovation continues, we hope to see the emergence of many more algorithms that can be tested and reviewed, so that those algorithms are used that have the highest technological merit and not those that might only exist because of a restricted access to data. So as said, we designed the architecture to facilitate the creation of an ecosystem. And the idea is that a guest can leave their review on a multitude of different interfaces, whether that is on a hotel's website or on a destination website, in a navigation app, or on a booking portal. The reviews are then stored in this shared open data set, this blue box that you see in the middle. And they are retrieved from there again for many different use cases. In such an open data ecosystem, everyone would be equally invited to use the data, even the large platforms such as Google or TripAdvisor. And we believe that ultimately the platforms should not compete based on their monopolistic access to the data, but based on technological merit and the best value for the customer. So once critical mass is reached, we believe that it will just make business sense for the large platforms to leverage the data set as well. And by that time, we will truly have created a paradigm shift where this user-generated content can be used to its full potential to serve the public good. So we already built the basic elements that are needed to integrate open reviews into a website or app. First, we created a technical standard. This ensures the interoperability among all ecosystem participants. And it also makes sure that all reviews can be analyzed programmatically. It allows for high integrity assurance without a central server. Then we developed an open source API and documentation for it. It is a REST API with an open API specification, which allows any app or website to integrate with the dataset, meaning to submit and to retrieve reviews. Next, we developed basic technology to ensure the reliability of the data and to tackle the problem of fake reviews. So we developed a probabilistic aggregation algorithm that is able to assign a weight to a particular review, taking into account several data points about the reviewer, as well as the characteristics of the review text. Integrators are, however, free to either use this open source probabilistic algorithm, or they can choose to use their own filters when they decide what to display on their website or in their app. And to make sure that open reviews can also be used in linked open data efforts, such as tourism knowledge graphs, we also developed a schema for it. And finally, in order to showcase the capabilities of the infrastructure, we created a web application that anyone can go to and use it to write reviews or to read reviews about places and to just test how this infrastructure works. And currently, we are working on a web widget that will be available in 1 or 2 weeks from now, basically from next month on. And that will allow websites to integrate with the infrastructure with much less effort. So we believe from then on it will be easy also for small websites that don't have much IT resources to integrate with this infrastructure. So, and here you can see the integration in a demo for the Heidiland website. So through the integration with the Aura infrastructure, Heidiland will be able to allow visitors to interact with the different places and to leave their opinions. Furthermore, visitors will be able to make decisions about what they want to visit without having to leave the website and having to retrieve reviews from somewhere else. And also the local businesses will be able to leverage all the data that is being collected through the Heidiland website for their marketing as well. So the pictures, the texts, all of this data can be leveraged by the local businesses. And the local businesses can can choose to either integrate with the infrastructure themselves and give the same capabilities to their website users or visitors, or they use the Heidiland website to answer to reviews, for example. It will not matter where the data will be collected. It will always end up in the same place and it will be retrievable from there. And here you can see how the listing of places will look like with the use of the Aura widget that now allows to display reviews for any point of interest. So it will be able to have reviews now within the destination's website, even for something like a lake or a peak or any kind of other natural area that typically don't have their own websites where they would normally collect reviews. So I hope I could bring across our passion for open data reviews and that some of you are considering to contribute to this initiative. Yeah, I would like to give you a couple of ways how to do that. So for researchers and technologists, we hope that the ecosystem allows for some interesting new research topics. First, it would be great if you help us to spread the word so that many more places integrate with the dataset. This will allow more people to write open reviews and the dataset will become more useful for many other things. We hope that this can also inspire you to work on new methodologies for filtering and ranking, but also for generating new insights. And with the free access to data, these methodologies can then be turned into products that can be taken to market. And finally, as the data set grows, we hope that it will be, that it will represent interesting opportunities for entrepreneurs as well, to build new tools for the ecosystem and to actually monetize on their work. For industry practitioners, we also hope that we could reach some of you. And we hope that you are keen to get in touch with us to integrate open reviews into your apps or website. For destination marketing organizations, we hope that it came across how this technology can also support the local businesses within your destination by basically you helping them to collect reviews for them, or by helping them with the actual integration into their own websites. Yeah, and finally, everyone is invited to join the Open Reviews Association and to take part in the decision-making process for where this technology is evolving and where we allocate funds, where we allocate our time. Yeah, thank you very much. I added here a lot of points, how you can reach us, ways to interact with us. I'm also looking forward to your questions now here at the conference. Yeah, looking forward to staying in touch.
Thank you very much, Dina. I think this is very exciting, and actually, I am seeing here a number of comments from the audience that this is very encouraging, and from the researcher standpoint, this is a fantastic, right? Because there's a very rich resource we can tap into to understand what is going on in the market. From the industry point of view, this could potentially be a game changer. Right, this is a few comments I received, and there's a number of questions people raised in the audience. I believe some of them are really quite along a similar line. So probably I could just summarize them and give you a big question so you can respond to. Okay, a general kind of a sense is that, well, this sounds fantastic, but how is it different from, say, the existing tools such as TrustYou or Review Pro or something? Review Pro, yeah. It seems that there's already a number of kind of the open source platforms available. Is it just about open source? So what's the major difference between your platform and the others? And also along the same vein, another question is, when do you expect to accumulate the critical mass of these reviews so that it become really, really useful for everyone?
Mm-hmm. So TrustYou is a service. So first of all, TrustYou is not open source. I don't know of real open source systems like that. That is a service that is about managing reputation or managing reviews. So it serves to basically take reviews or aggregate reviews across different proprietary platforms and create some sort of combined rating and then display this rating on websites and sometimes also display reviews. Now, while this is great, there are not so many yet of these services, and we must say that they are also costly. So many local businesses, small businesses, would not be able to afford the large fees. So they are quite considerable, as I've heard from many hotels or other places. So if you look today, who is using such systems is typically the larger players. And what we create is something that basically is accessible to anyone. Yeah? It doesn't exclude people from using content that is provided freely by people, using that content freely as well. So this is the big difference. Now, these services also allow some interesting additional applications that can be replicated in the open data ecosystem as well, such as the verified purchase, which is this triggering of an email to a hotel guest after they stayed in order to request a review. So all these things, or analytics dashboards also for analyzing reviews, all these things can also be recreated in the open data ecosystem. Some will be open source. So we have, for example, somebody interested in writing a master thesis and developing such a dashboard, which will be open source, but we invite also entrepreneurs to build these tools and charge money for them. Yet the basic applications should always be for free for people to use. And another issue also with such reputation systems as TrustYou is that they create yet another dependency. Yeah, so basically, when you collect reviews from your guests through them, then you also are logged in with them. Because when you stop the process, or when you stop your contract with them, you also lose the access to those gathered reviews, or at least to the platform or to the dashboards and all of these things. And we want to create something where all these smaller businesses are not locked in so much. Yeah. And my final point would be that most of these services currently only exist for things like hotels or restaurants or so. Trust You even is only for hotels. So many other places that could be reviewed and that are interesting for people, such as a small museum somewhere, or even natural sites like a peak or something, oftentimes don't have any place where they could gather reviews. And this is something that many destinations, such as also the Heideland example that I've shown, they are really interested in that. They want to allow their visitors to also review this type of things, or to read reviews about these types of things for which there are no services yet.
Well, thank you very much for clarifying. It's interesting to see that actually among the audience, some people are already answering, kind of providing responses to each other on the topic.
Okay.
And the different issue is about the nature of data. Right? Some of the questions are related to what does the data look like? Does it contain spatial information, for example? Is it standardized? How do you deal with fake reviews? We know that fake reviews, you mentioned that in your presentation, but fake reviews it's like fake news, right? It's an ongoing kind of a phenomena. So what's the plan for dealing with that?
Okay, so let's look at these different aspects separate. Your first point was not on the fake reviews, but what was your first point?
What's the nature of the data? What does it look like?
Yeah, of course. So that's a very important question, yeah, and that's also something that is part of this paradigm shift, because currently, if you look at the big data, at the big review platforms, they all have their own standards, right? They all work in their own ways. So the data oftentimes is not compatible. If you now look at research that is done based on reviews, you normally don't see researchers take data from different platforms. They typically just focus on one, because the data is just not interoperable that easily. Now, in the ecosystem, it's very, very important that we have a good standard that works for everyone. So that was basically the first thing that we created. And I will post a link to this presentation. So there you find links to all the elements that I mentioned before. Yeah, I can actually post it straight away to you, Phil, and you can maybe pass it on to people, because then people can straight away, here we go. People can straight away click on the different links and see the data standard. And what our standard contains is, so first of all, it is something that can evolve. Yeah. So since it's not one centralized closed company that is just dictating how the standard is, but it's in the hands of the Open Reviews Association, the whole association can discuss and talk about what the standard should contain. And currently, what it contains is a way to identify places that is also quite new and a bit different from how it's currently done today. We think that we eliminated some of the weaknesses. So please have a look at how we determine points of interest. But also it contains metadata about the reviewer themselves, data that the reviewer can add voluntarily, something like age or gender or other features. But also it has metadata about the context of the situation in which they were when they visited the place. So was it a business context, or was it a family visit, or what was that? And with this metadata, the data itself gets richer and can be filtered by several things. So if I'm looking for a great hike with my family, then I can just search for opinions of people that did a certain hike with their families as well, to see if it worked out for them.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dina. How about the fake review question?
Fake reviews, exactly. So I think that's a really important one for most people. And our approach here is that we believe we have, again, to do a paradigm shift from how it's done today. So although we have huge companies like Google and so on with unlimited resources, yeah, the way that it's done today is not leading to much success either, right? Because we just see that they are also not overcoming the problem of fake reviews. So we think we need a bit of a different approach. And our approach to it is that we say, let all the data flow in, it's fine. But then on the output side, let's make sure that we have good algorithms and filters that make sure that we don't get garbage out. Yeah, and here the probabilistic aggregation algorithm comes into play, but the ecosystem is particularly open to innovation from all sides. Yeah, we have seen at the conference was a paper presented how to deal with fake reviews. This is also an interesting approach. So there are already many approaches out there, and the reason why they are not being turned into products is because there is no place yet for them to be applied to, yeah, because Google has their own way, Amazon has their own way, TripAdvisor have their own way. So research is being done, interesting things are thought out, but now let's have a place where we can actually test these algorithms, apply them, and put them to actual use, yeah, and also monetize on them if people want to build products. Yeah, because in the ecosystem, every website, every Heidi Land or whoever, they will be able to pick the algorithm that is really the best and say, okay, this algorithm I would use, yeah, to filter reviews that are shown on my website.
Excellent. Thank you, Dina. I know we are running out of the time and we have to move on, but two really quick, short questions you probably can briefly provide answers to. One is regarding the nature of the data. The platform does not provide, say, reputation analysis, right? It does. It does? Okay.
Yes, that's integrated in the probabilistic aggregation algorithm and in the new type of identification system that we created. It uses public-private key cryptography to create an identity of each reviewer. And this identity is then, it's privacy preserving, absolutely. And this identity is then used to track what this reviewer is writing over time. How many reviews, are they all positive or are they all negative or are they balanced? And this helps us in the reliability assessment.
One final question.
Okay.
What is the revenue model? How do you support this open source platform from a long-term perspective?
So currently it's completely philanthropic project, financed personally by myself and my partner, because we believe in this idea. But as we have more people joining the Open Reviews Association as members, and as people will join that actually derive business value from it by providing a better use for their users of their websites, we hope that through donations and membership fees and so on, the infrastructure can be hosted well, yeah. But overall, I must say, the costs for hosting it are quite low. So the overall spend is quite limited and not really an issue. The only thing where costs arise is if we want to build more things on it, yeah. And here we hope the community to step in just out of self-interest to start developing tools and either market them or provide them open source and just keep growing the ecosystem.
Well, this is fantastic, Dina. I'm sure through this kind of interaction, the platform will generate interest from the IFID community and beyond. And I really wish you a successful kind of development of this platform. Thank you very much. Wish you every